Hey there, AmyK here, 50 at 50, and we're at number 16, and we've got an email from Kaylee that I think that we can all relate to because we've all had these really painful and awkward moments. So Kaylee writes, Dear AmyK, hello Kaylee. My sister-in-law basically tried to interfere with my wedding a week before the wedding and tell my husband that he better think twice about marriage. In parentheses, she is currently unhappy in her marriage, end of parentheses, and that it was okay for him to back out before it was too late. He became very upset with her and thought it was completely inappropriate for her to get involved since she had no idea what our situation is or was and how different it is from her situation. I still had to be the bigger person and face her on my wedding day and act like nothing had happened. It's been over a year now, but it still gets to me. I have never come out and told her how much it ticked me off, but she also gets pleasure in knowing she can stir the pot and walk away. Still trying to find the best way to forgive the situation and move on. It's hard. Thank you so much, Kaylee. Kaylee, first of all, your husband is absolutely right. It was completely inappropriate for her to say that a week before your wedding. And it is what we call a projection. That comment had nothing to do with you. It had nothing to do with her brother, your husband. It had everything to do with where she was at and her painful marriage and the fact that you said she likes to stir the pot. So moving forward, this is how I want you to think about taking your power back. That comment wasn't about you. It was about her. It was a reflection of her. And from her perspective, it was a projection onto you all. And so when somebody says something like that to us, we're all caught off guard. And here's a fantastic magical phrase for all of us. You must be in a lot of pain to say that. Or you could look at somebody, you can say, wow, it sounds like you're hurting. Am I hearing you accurately? Are you hurting? Or you could say, well, that comment, that makes me wonder how much pain you're in. And that hurts my heart. Is there anything that I can do to help you? And what you're doing is you're turning it back on them. So yes, it's really understandable because it was inappropriate. And yet when you say it's hard for you to move on, I want you to think about the fact that it really was an expression of her pain. It was an expression of her unhappy marriage. Doesn't make her action right. It makes it understandable. And you don't need to stir the pot. You don't need to bring it up. What you're going to do is move forward and saying, she's an injured bird. She's wounded. This was just a reflection of how wounded she is or how unhappy she is in her marriage. And this is a fantastic conversation for you to have with your husband and say, you know, the best thing for us to do is to move on and show her love and compassion and remind ourselves it had nothing to do with us. And if your husband's like, but it was totally inappropriate, you can say, yes, it was. But it was a reflection of her pain and her wounding. So if she says something again going forward, rather than owning it, we can say, oh, that sounds like you're in a lot of pain. For you to say something like that to us, because we're not in that situation, it must be that you're in pain. How can we help you? And to really let her start to own those actions. So Kaylee, this is relatable for all of us. All of us have had somebody say something to us that was inappropriate. And instead of taking it personally, the way that we move forward is to say, oh, that's a reminder of their pain, of their wound. And now I can come from a place of compassion. I can still have boundaries, but I can come from a place of compassion. So Kaylee, thank you for sharing your incident with us because all of us can relate to it and all of us can learn from it. From my heart to yours, 50 at 50, number 16, hugs.